Hey guys, we just got back from seeing M3GAN. Now I know we're a little late on this. Apologies for that. We decided to see it this weekend instead of last weekend, obviously. And now this is obviously January. So this is kind of where usually, traditionally, companies either dump their lost causes, or they dump low rent horrors that aren't very good. And, you know, January movies kind of stink, is the reputation. However, I saw this trailer. I am the one to blame because I wanted to go and see this and do a review for it.
The trailer looked stupid.
Based on the trailer. Yeah. I just love torturing these guys.
It's going to be bad.
It's going to be bad. But, you know, I really like the premise, you know. So I'm like, all right, we're in a kind of a social media, pop culture, kind of Chucky. You know, we've seen how they did Chucky. They updated Chucky with all this stuff, and it was trash. I actually think I liked M3GAN better than the recent Chucky. Yep. And surprising, I expected this to be awful, and it was good. It wasn't trash. Right? I just wish that it wasn't so... Like, I wanted them to slam that gas, and they never really slammed the gas. I felt by the end it was kind of... Number one, it was predictable, obviously. I see everything coming. It's a little derivative. And unfortunately, the biggest surprise for me is oddly tame. You know, I go in, I am expecting like a little bit of horror, some good, interesting kills, and unfortunately the kills are a little disappointing. So you got a forgettable kind of story that's rather predictable. Everything is laid out for you in the trailer, and then forgettable kills. However, the star of the show here for me is the doll itself, M3GAN. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. What did you guys think of M3GAN?
This one actually surprised me. I ended up liking it a lot. I like the characters, like you said. I wish they would have done more with it, but I get the PG-13 is really what hindered it.
That's right.
If
it was PG-13.
If it was like rated R,
you're
show
right.
some better kills, show some more gore, some more horror elements.
That's when I would have been on board.
Yes, that would have knocked it up way higher for me.
I hear there is an unrated version, Joe. I looked it up. The director, there's an unrated. There's more. There was a more glory kill that got... Basically, studio interference came in, and that's when they noticed how popular the trailer was getting amongst a younger market because of the viral dance that she does in the trailer, which, by the way, in the film is rather disappointing. I thought she was going to be a big old sequence and fucking mimic the weird, creepy pageant late... What you saw in the trailer is basically what she does. I'm like, So, yeah.
But
anyways,
like
when they saw that, they started to tone it down a little bit, and I think they toned it down a little too bit.
Yeah, and that's where they fucked up, in my thoughts.
Yeah, I think the movie looked stupid, and I think the premise is still, after seeing it, I still think the premise of the movie is stupid. It's just they programmed a robot with the capacity to murder human beings. That being said, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was. And I actually think this movie's pretty good. And so, like, I was expecting this movie to be very stupid, and it was only a little stupid. And so, like, kind of won me over with, like, some of the cool stuff. There's one kill in particular that... If they had really let, like, when she's the personal assistant, where she's going through
we do spoilers in the spoiler section.
Yeah, I'm not giving away. Like, she kills a guy. They're not a spoiler, but she kills someone by going through and then says, "This is how I'm going to go." And they go into like your search history and shit, and to like and like there could have been so much cool stuff they did with technology.
That's what I wrote,
but they did none of it, and so it's like.
They went the standard tropey way.
Yeah, and so like this is just an absolute and total failure because I had no expectations going to this movie. I thought this movie was going to be fucking stupid and I wouldn't care. But the thing is, it actually did a good job to a point. Now I actually start to care, and I'm like, holy fuck, you had something that could have been good, and you shit the bed by being cowards.
Yeah,
and like,
they were cowards.
And then so it's like I think it's probably worth seeing. I had an okay time. Like you see it with your buddies, you have a beer, you and it's okay.
You laugh about it.
But it is a little dumb, and I think that the people behind this movie are absolute fucking cowards.
He's right, because it could have done so much more with the premise. I even wrote it here. We could have done some stuff with cyberbullying, like if the little girl was being cyberbullied. This is a robot with AI that can literally like fucking cyberbully them back and make them fucking kill themselves, or she finds their house and tracks them via fucking
Hacks
GPS.
electronic cars, like
Electronic cars.
Like
You can start. Somebody was, I forget, it was like she can't. How did she start that Ferrari? Or I was like, BMWs have remote start. I mean, you can start, but anyway, but there was not enough social media parts of it, and that's what I thought they were going to press because of the kind of like viral dance TikTok stuff, and there really wasn't that in there, and unfortunately, there wasn't a huge payoff. I was expecting they were gathering people for the launch of the thing, and there's a big old crowd, and then you don't really use the crowd. And it's like, oh, that would have been interesting if he had used it. And instead, it's kind of devolves into some horror cliches when it's supposed to kick into overdrive. But otherwise, somewhat surprised by the premise. I've already read that it's done well enough that these things print money. The horror, they don't cost that much. I'm sure they got a little actress or a younger actress to wear the prosthetic and run around as M3GAN. So it doesn't really cost all that much, and so they're definitely doing a sequel. And I think there is a lot of potential in where they go next with the sequel, and have more confidence. Don't be such a coward.
Don't make it PG-13.
Yes, that's the thing, and I hate the fact that this got Hollywoodized, right? They saw the numbers. This is a by the numbers film, like controlled by the suits. Okay, ratchet this down, turn that down. And that's what fucked this. You really have to push
crank
things
down the wrong stuff.
Yeah, you have to push things further, and it could have been a cult classic where it actually ends up as a mixed. It's good, but mixed. Yeah. So I think we covered most everything. We're gonna go into final verdicts. I will say that the acting. I actually thought the acting was not that solid.
It's a January horror movie, man.
Yeah, I was disappointed by a lot of the actors. You have the kind of douchey toy executive.
I love that guy. He's so funny.
He is not, in this. He is really awkward. His acting is off. He's just phoning it in. I didn't think he was very good in the film. The little girl, the real life little girl, not M3GAN. I felt she was annoying, and I just didn't have any emotional connection to her, and I didn't really buy, and then when she's acting out, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I get it. It's supposed to be like that a little bit. And then the main character lady who is the caretaker for the girl and buys her this doll, again, average at best. So I thought the acting didn't quite elevate the material. So I'm looking for one part to elevate the material, the kills, the acting, and or pushing the gore and the craziness, and it never really did any of that. It just had that solid premise, and it was better than I thought it would be. So yeah, let's go to final verdicts.
I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 7. I did enjoy it. I wish it would have been like better with the kills. Like they had the perfect opportunity. Is like gathering everyone, like you said. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be like a kill box.
Yeah.
She could just let loose in that building. But the payoff was kind of super let down.
Yeah.
But the acting was fine. I get the kid. She act like a little crackhead. She's like, give me my M3GAN. I need my M3GAN.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, really?
Shit.
I don't know if that would happen.
Yeah,
but
I was
okay.
like, whatever. But I'm not opposed to seeing another one. I was gonna say maybe one and done, but I'm not opposed to it if they explore, like we were talking about, do some more like cloud stuff and
push it,
hacking and just
and then
have fun with it.
Yeah, and then shake off the whole, okay, we might have 13-year-old little girls watching because of the viral TikTok dance or whatever. No, fuck that audience. Let's go hard.
Yes.
Or maybe we can't market to you, but we're gonna go gory because that's what it needed. It needed a hard edge, and it just didn't have that.
Yeah, I like this. I like this movie so much better than I thought, and so I'm kind of stuck between a 6 or 7 because I think it's an above average movie, especially for January. I think the things that you kind of nailed the issues with it, right? I don't think the kills. I don't think they need to be gory. I think you just need to get more creative with it because I think
we'll talk about them in the.
You can get creative with what we were describing. Have kills be off screen, taking over a Tesla and have it drive into a tree because they were driving too fast on the street. That's off screen. That's not rated R. There's so many things that you can do, and they did fucking none of it. And so I think the writing is solid, but I mean, this movie is stupid, right? Because they programmed no one's read Asimov, right? There's 3 rules of robotics, 3, and he wrote them many years ago, and all you have to do is fucking follow them. And so it's like, even if you
leave a child alone with a titanium fucking endoskeleton that has the strength to crush fucking adults and gorillas.
Yeah, yes. And so, I mean, the movie's a little dumb, but it still was enjoyable. I had the opposite feeling that you did. Is if they're doing a sequel, I actually have more hope for the sequel. I think that because it's got such a positive reception, I think that they give James Wan and the writers a little bit more wiggle room.
This is James Wan?
James Wan, I think, was at least one of the producers of it. It's Blumhouse and James Wan. So I'm hoping that they see the success and they go, okay, people like this movie. Let us be more creative. Maybe they were just getting strangled by the suits as far as their creativity.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
Jason Blum and James Wan, producers.
Yeah. So
writer James Wan as well. He contributed a little bit.
So I just give them a little bit more, a little bit more rope to like play around and have more fun with this. And I think that you actually could have something. I don't want it to be PG-13, but I just think that's what we're going to get in the sequel.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes, if we go hard R, you got us on board perfectly. This is one of those that we want to succeed because we see that potential, and we're just unsure if the suits will allow it to succeed with the test market and the the ages, females, this age through this age, we can't show that. Yeah, that kind of shit. Some of the movies when I was younger that fucking I was watching, I shouldn't watch, and that had an impact on me. That was fucking horrifying.
That's all I grew up with is horror.
That's what I want for this generation to see. That it's not there. All right, so we'll talk about some of the creative kills, or rather uncreative kills, in the spoiler section and more. I'm going to go ahead and end up at a 6 out of 10. I really want to push it. I want to get to 7. I want to get to 8. I think the franchise has that potential, and this could be one of those franchises where the sequel it could be better than the original. And I actually think by going even campier and even stupider, you actually could result in something better. It's weird, but in this instance, I want them to jump the shark in the sequel. Anyways, that's our review of M3GAN. So if you've already seen it, because our review came out a little late, let us know what you thought below. If you haven't seen it, check it out this weekend. And I will see you in the spoiler section. Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section. So guys, why does she need the M3GAN doll? Her parents passed away, right?
Yeah, they died, and they were going skiing, and then she was being kind of a shit, and her parents were assholes, and they were screaming at each other in the car. The husband couldn't see, which is a perfect time to be yelling at him and chastising him for how he's driving.
The parents are kind of shitty parents.
Yeah, and then they stop in the middle of the road, which is super dangerous. You don't do that, and they got hit by a snowplow, and then they died.
Yeah. So the aunt takes over, right? And she's all career oriented. She doesn't really know how to take care of a kid. Doesn't really want to. I mean, she wants to. She's a good person at heart, but she just doesn't know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
And so she's not connecting. And at one moment she's playing around with a Furby knockoff. She's designing these things with robotics. And here's where the movie kind of, it breaks my suspension of disbelief, but I will allow it because I'm like, I want M3GAN to exist. But I felt the creation of M3GAN was rushed and could have been done in a more interesting way. It's like, hurry up, let's go, right? Well, they introduced this other robot first, Bruce. I thought it was in the wrong movie and how long it took to get to the M3GAN. But anyway, so they introduced Bruce, and it's her first robot she made when she was in college. And I knew instantly when she was describing how to operate Bruce that Bruce was going to play a factor in the thing. And this is what I was going to say in the review. I forgot to. There's a drop of RoboCop 2 in the film, and I wish I would have said that over there just to pique some people's interest to go and see it. Just a small drop of RoboCop 2 because of the robot fight at the end. So she shows off this robot, and she notices how she lights up when she's interacting with the robot, and she's like, "Wow, if I could have a thing like this, I would never need another toy." And she's like, "Bah," and then it's literally 5 minutes. She goes from a fucking, Boston Dynamics robot that can't do shit to the most advanced fucking robot you've ever seen. And so that was a little bit of a bridge too far, but it's like, no, we need to get to M3GAN, so let's do it. But it could have been done where, well, they're already working on something, and then she needed one other thing to get her up over the hump. But no, she creates it from fucking scratch, which later on kind of confused me and doesn't make sense. There feels like there might be some things cut out of the film because when finally M3GAN does go on the rampage and we're in the last 20 minutes, M3GAN visits the home and she's playing the piano creepily, and then she gets up and she goes on this monologue like, you built me and we were friends over many nights.
Jane Austen to me till 4 in the morning.
It's like none of that shit happened. What are you talking about? Like you don't feel that. You don't feel the creator connection with her. Kind of out of left field, and maybe they cut out some of that stuff where she's building M3GAN just for pacing.
It's just dumb dialogue where it's like the brilliant robot scientist purposely built M3GAN for the reason she's like the little girl. Like, I would never need other toys. Like that's why she fucking built it in the first place. And the movie's like it was the little girl's idea. It's like no, it wasn't. Shut up.
Yeah, and she's the aunt is ridiculously stupid. There's no safety protocols whatsoever. She's like, I'm going to create an AI that continually improves itself for its parameters.
Rewrites its own parameters.
It writes its own parameters.
Yeah, so it's like, the whole do not murder. I'm going to let it change that line.
No. Right.
It's like,
there's no.
You said protect.
Even fucking
cause.
RoboCop has a protocol. Can't attack OCP. She just put none of that shit in there. She's just wildly irresponsible. And of course, the movie rushes through that. She introduces it to the douchebag CEO, and he's like, "Yeah, this is fucking great." And everybody's like, "Whoa!" When the robot. I don't know, connects with her or sings with her. Those are some of the cringy moments, but I expected those moments where she does her little, Frozen 2 songs and shit. And yeah, so what's our first kill?
She kills a dog.
Why?
Because she's playing around in the yard and she lost an arrow. It's like, hey, have you seen the arrow? It's actually next door in the little hole where the fence was, and M3GAN went to go retrieve it. The dog comes out of nowhere, starts attacking the doll.
Yeah.
And then the little girl's like, no, it's my toy. Bring it back. She reaches in. Never supposed to do that, but whatever. She did it anyways, and then the dog bit her.
Fucking bit her. And then the next scene is the police are like, there's nothing we can do. And I was like, what? I was like, if a dog bites a young child, the police are probably going to be on the side of...
lock up...
Yeah, but in this one, they were like, there's nothing we could do. I guess maybe because the dog was in her property, and I don't really understand.
It's just stupid.
When you have a dangerous dog, and there were multiple calls, because the aunt's like, no, I've been telling everybody about this dog. And anyway, so the robot is like, I'm going to get revenge on this fucking dog. And so then she mimics her owner's voice in order to get the dog and puts a little dog treat. And then she fucking grabs the dog in a crazy way. But it's so weird because I guess... Because her parameters didn't allow her to fight back. She's just like a lifeless dog as it's attacking her. But now all of a sudden she has the strength to completely, crack the dog's neck. We don't actually see anything, thankfully. We don't really see much with the dog.
I think she didn't get triggered because it was just attacking her. But as soon as it attacked the little girl, I was like, all right, now.
That's the third rule. That's the third rule of robotics is you have to protect yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I guess.
So it is.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be. That's why she gets so aggressive, because at one point she's like, M3GAN, make sure you protect her. And then she's like, I will protect her forever. And she gets a little aggressive about it. Yeah.
She just didn't. So she uses the fake. Like she records the owner's voice and mimics the owner's voice. But this is as creative as really M3GAN gets throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Everyone everyone in this movie has like a smart car, smart phone, smart house, and they don't do anything with it. And you expect like over the course of the movie that the M3GAN would start to get more creative, and it just never happens.
That's why we're a little upset, because we could come up with ideas for it if you need ideas. But anyway, so then the next skill She goes out on a retreat or some kind of kid function, camp or something.
Hippie camp.
There's a fucking
Hippie
hippie
schools.
camp, and there's a fucking dickhead kid who is just a jerk, and everybody hates him. It's like, no, I don't. Teacher, I don't want to be on his team. And she's like, okay, you'll be on her team. And so this bully
Send
kid,
the new girl with the kid who bullies other kids.
yeah, and I don't know what kind of camp this is because the very next scene, there's not an adult anywhere.
In the middle
There's
of
no
fucking
other
woods.
kids.
The
They're
woods
in
next to a freeway.
They were looking for chestnuts, and apparently they let the kids go wild over a 15-mile radius or something because there's nobody around. So, anyways, this kid is like, she's gonna reach for this little fucking, tree seed that's very pokey, and he's like, "Oh, you wanted this? Here, take it." And then he fucking squeezes her hand. I was like, "What the fuck is this kid psychotic? He's more than a dick. He's a fucking weirdo." And I was like, "Oh, this kid's fucking dead." And then M3GAN is just standing. Whoa, she's just standing there, and he like pokes her nose and like picks her up and throws her around. And then he's just bullying the fucking little girl and bullying M3GAN. And M3GAN's he slaps her across the face, and he's on top of her. And I was like, oh, and he was like ripping off her shoes. I'm like, oh, what are we doing here? We're not. Is he gonna treat her like a doll or something? Luckily, they didn't go in that direction. He's just fucking being weird. And then, as he's beating her up, then she's like, "That's not very nice." And, she fucking comes to life and like rips his ears off, like a little mother. She's like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that with the ear," and like rips his ear off. And then he's like freaking out and he runs away. And then I guess visually it looks better for her to go and run like a gorilla or something
That's
weird.
pretty creepy.
But that's like not the most I don't think a robot would be. That's not the efficient way to run.
Going for the creepy factor.
Going for the creepy factor, which I enjoyed, and it freaked him out. And then he rolled down a hill and fucking in front of a truck and just got.
Because they let the kids play in the woods unsupervised next to a hill
and got obliterated by that truck. The next scene is a body bag.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, good, fuck that kid. He was but again, it's like, man. Okay, so that's good, right? We're ramping it up. We're starting. These are the starting ones. What's the next one?
He kills the old lady who owned the dog. She keeps
Calling the police.
Yeah, she keeps like doing things that are alarming, the little girl, and so she starts making fake dog whimpering noises, and lures her into a shed and sprays her in the face off screen with a pressure washer.
That would have been awesome if we could see it, and no, I was like, that doesn't hurt. Like when she hit her at the beginning, I was like, oh, it's a water gun. Oh, make it. Oh. And then they get more violent with it, where I don't know. She shoves her on the ground and she puts the power washer right in her face. But again, I'm like, I'm not convinced. They just cut away, and the water eventually turns red. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's disappointing. So maybe there's the R-rated version or the cut version, and they'll show more of that. Actual skin flaps going. Like, this is where I want it to go. Trauma or fucking, the films Joe watch that just push an envelope in a particular direction, or Terrifier. But of course, you have these audience. I looked over. There's like a grandma watching the film, and every time there would be tension, she would get close. And I noticed this, and I'm like, oh, that's so fucking sweet. I haven't seen that in a long time. A person who's like gets scared and is like holding her, daughter or whatever before it happens. But here's the thing: like none of the jump scares even got the grandma. Like she'd do it, and then she would kind of just relax because nothing. She was waiting for it and wanted it.
They didn't build up to
there's
it.
really not a lot of jump scares that are effective or anything. So it's a little disappointing there. Okay, so she does power washer. And then what? We're going for a debut. Debut with the doll. They want to put it into mass production. They kind of announce it on television, so all the kids are going wild for it, but then they don't use that. There's not a big crowd when she's revealed. She doesn't go fucking crazy on the crowd. Instead, most of the action happens behind the scenes where she is put up in her fucking Jesus stance. They basically are shutting her down because they've noticed that,
she's evil.
She's evil, and she's kind of talking shit to her creator, and the creator's like, what the fuck? And she's like deleting all the videos in her memory, and she's like, we gotta fix this thing. So they put her in the fucking RoboCop fucking thing, but she's still fucking connected. They decide, nobody realizes how they've made this thing to connect to everything, and they leave her connected, and she's like, we got to figure this out. And it's like, no, disconnect her. And
we didn't program an off switch. Okay.
Yeah, and so then they notice that the fucking, thing is still operating, so they're like, all right, you got to manually disconnect her. And the lady looks at the guy, and he looks at her, and he's like, God damn it. Because he should have said something like, why? Just because I'm a guy, I got to die first? God damn it. And so he goes over there. But this guy doesn't die, actually. So it
was very close.
Does get fucked up. He starts unplugging her, and then, of course, she comes alive, very predictable, and wraps some of those metallic wire around his neck and hangs him. And uses his body as sort of a distraction so that the other scientist lady can save her friend so that she can then go. And she punctures a flammable fucking thing for no reason.
They can't follow her now.
Right? I thought it was going to be a massive explosion, but it's a small localized explosion that just kind of pushes them to the side.
No one was even that hurt.
No one was hurt. So
It's
I was like, oh,
PG-13.
man, stop this. This is lame. Then she's walking in the hall, and then I guess somebody, because apparently this wasn't in the script, that dance. So apparently somebody got creative. They're like, and fucking God bless that person, because if they would have let that person do more input, maybe we would have seen more.
They set up, so they show the stupid fucking robot in the very beginning, and you know that the robot's going to be in the final scene, right? But they also showed this door, this unopenable door that the CEO can't get in, and and it's like a smart door, and M3GAN has control over this whole facility. She can even turn off all the alarms. I'm like, oh, cool, we're going to do something really cool. She's going to lock them in this room that they can't get out, and they're going to burn alive, and nothing.
No,
she stabs a guy.
She does a dance.
The next kill she
does.
No,
with what, Alex? What did she stab him with?
Well,
a randomly placed paper cutter.
Yeah.
What?
Which is I've used those a lot. None of them are sharpened in the tip like that. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, she stabs him, and then she stabs the next person. We have a doll that can control all technology wirelessly, Bluetooth. She's intercepting cell phone calls. She's mimicking people, and she killed a guy with a makeshift shiv instead of doing anything creative.
Paper cutter.
It's like, what the fuck? You have this amazing blank canvas to do anything you fucking want, and we're like, we stabbed the guy.
Yeah.
And she does the dance. This stab the guy.
He's running for his life. Toy with him. Do something.
There's really not any reason for her to do the dance, by the way. Because
it was out of nowhere.
They showed a small scene where she's doing this while they're doing the presentation. The little girl's kind of teaching her that, so that's the small justification. But a cool-ass scene where she's like browsing TikTok, you know what I mean, on her own. Because like she's literally awake at all times. It's an occupational hazard to not go to sleep because she wants to protect her owner the whole time. That would have been interesting, but no, she just does dance for no reason, dances 3 seconds, and then she randomly looks to the left, and there just so happens to be a paper cutter in a small cutaway in a hallway out of nowhere. It's like, so hey, what do we got in the prop room? Oh, the fucking what do you call that machine? Whatever. So
paper cutter. I don't know.
Yeah, and then she kills the first CEO, and this is the CEO. Like his hubris, pure fucking hubris, and all he does is get stabbed in the back. That's it. And then there's the cowardly, nerdy guy, and
the double crosser because he's secretly selling the M3GAN files to the competitors.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Yes.
So maybe that could be sequel potential. But I thought she was gonna let him live, but she doesn't. She just kind of mocks him and then stabs him in the throat.
This is the only part of the movie that they were whispering at creativity that I was actually getting excited, and then again they just didn't do anything with it because I guess they don't have the brains. She sits there and she's like, look, you've got motive, you've got opportunity to kill the CEO.
You did it.
And then you did this. And he's sitting there going like, oh, don't fucking kill me, you psycho little doll. And I thought she was going to like really fuck with him and go, because she knows all of the dirt on everyone because she's got access to everything.
It would have been perfect if she left him alive because they would have been like, yeah, you did this.
And she could be doing all this like really fucked up shit, but instead she just goes, nah, and she just cuts his throat and then we move on.
Like, what happened
Off
here?
screen.
Who did... You were going in that direction, and then you're like, nah, forget it.
Yeah, you know that cool thing? Yeah, we were going to do that, but then we decided we didn't want to.
And so this elevator then comes up with dead bodies, and that's what this big audience sees in the reveal instead of, you know, M3GAN fucking freaking out. So M3GAN takes the opportunity to go back home because, you know, obviously she sees the aunt trying to make a real connection with her owner. She doesn't like that. And so she gets in a fucking McLaren for no reason and turns it on remotely and interfaces with it, and it just drives off. I guess they had to find a way because she's only 4 foot tall. You would probably not be able to operate the McLaren. Anyways, so she gets there and she's playing the piano. So that's what I mentioned before. And then she has this conversation with the aunt that is, oh, you and me this. It's like, no, I don't feel that.
The important thing is, how was she's going to die. M3GAN is choking the life out of this woman, is going to kill her. Except for the owner didn't make her waterproof.
Right.
The owner grabs a glass.
A light slap
and then the glass, and she gets a little bit of water. So this is a child's toy that is not waterproof.
Titanium alloy.
Yeah, and it's just like, and so then M3GAN like freaks out, and she's able to get away from.
But it was why? Why did they do it? Because of her movement.
Yeah,
they wanted a scene where she would do the classic
robot. Yeah.
You know, not necessarily robot. Well, it obviously is a robot, but you know, the horror possession where they go, you know. So, but it's like, no, you didn't earn it. You didn't really earn it yet. And they got to that scene where you see her in the distance. They close the door. It's all still cool visuals, and we do like the movie. But the reason why we're being hard on it is because we see the potential to go further with it, and we like it enough to want it to have done better. So she's doing the creepy and just going crazy at this point. She has determined that I'm going to kill the aunt, even though that would not make sense.
Put her in a vegetated state.
Yeah, I'm going to paralyze you. So.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like,
so
then you'll find out how useful I can be.
Exactly. And plus, she probably needs her to obviously. Her owner, the little girl, would not forgive her for killing her. But at some point, as they're fighting, she's like, all right, fuck it, I'm just going to kill you. And that's when I saw the little girl who walks in. And I saw she was hiding her hands, you know. So I was like, okay, she's already got the gloves. She's already made the decision because M3GAN's like, oh, I didn't want you to see this fight. And well, now that you've seen it, make a choice between us. And I was like, all right, well, she's already made the choice. She's already got the glove. You haven't met the final member of our family, says the little girl, Bruce. And then, Mortal Kombat. And then you have some robots fighting. This is the little drip of fucking RoboCop 2 where the fucking, you know, RoboCop 2 is fighting RoboCop. And so you have robot on robot action, and she's thrashing her around.
She built some badass robots, though.
She did build some fucking badass robots. Eventually, Bruce is able to rip M3GAN in half and throw her to pieces, and I'm like, well, it's not over with. We're going to do the Terminator now.
Of course.
Which is with the little fucking spine hanging out. And you know, they butcher her face like a Chucky, so you get a little bit of that look to her and ratty, messed up hair. And it's looking good here. You know, the last bit is good. I just wish that, you know, in certain other areas they had pushed it more. This is fine. And finally, how do they dispatch M3GAN?
Well, earlier in the movie, she had told the little girl, "This is how you kill the robots that I designed.
Yeah.
Like, these are the cameras. This is where its brain goes."
Brain.
And then, because again, they just like, "Hey, dummy, this is what happens in the movie." And earlier in the movie, and so later in the movie,
so the audience is like, "Stab it in the brain."
Oh, you're stabbing in the brain. I know this. And so M3GAN's face kind of gets ripped off. The inventor rips her eyes out, the cameras out. But she's getting choked to death, and so the little girl grabs a screwdriver and stabs through the CPU, killing M3GAN.
But we all saw it coming because she was able to interact with this Alexa that we've seen at various moments throughout the film. And at one point, the Alexa is doing shit that is not being asked of it. So I'm like, well, she's already hacked it. Just she can embed herself there. You're fucked. And so at the end of the film, the Alexa like looks up and the light goes on, and you're like, oh, okay, so M3GAN's not there. There's no after credits, so you don't have to wait till the after credits. But yeah, there will be a sequel. So what do you think they can do? What do you think they'll do? I've got one idea. I want to hear your idea.
I don't think that there's any, like, this movie is already a little stupid, but if they do the thing where M3GAN is now Alexa, that is like too deep end for me. As long as they go, for me, the route where the elite, the competing company has all the files, and there's a M3GAN factory, and then
that's what I want.
And then M3GAN through the internet downloads her brain into the M3GAN factory. That is pretty much the only way, as I see it now.
We wrote it for you.
Because if they do it, well, no.
And tons of M3GANs. In fact, they can even go anti-hero M3GAN, because a lot of popular franchises, when they everybody likes the M3GAN character, well, let's make her maybe an anti-hero. So you have a factory of M3GANs, and they're all fucking evil. But then this M3GAN is realizing, well, shit, I gotta protect, and
this
now
one's set to good.
I'm fighting other M3GANs. You have M3GAN on M3GAN action, right? That's one avenue. Another avenue is you can go Chucky with it, where through Alexa she torments, because it's shown at the end that the 2 scientists that helped the aunt build it are still alive. So you can, if the aunt doesn't want to come back for a sequel, you can use these where they are tormented by Alexa. Their family are being held through whatever means, where they're forced to build her a new body, and then she goes into that, and then goes on her rampage and stuff. I'm curious whether they'll tie it back into that family, or whether they'll just go bigger and wider with it. Those are some ideas for M3GAN. If this one was 3,
well, no, it'd be M3GAN, but 2, but they'll switch it M3GANs, because it'll be about an army of M3GANs.
There you go.
There it is. It's written for you. It's done, signed, sealed, and delivered. M3GANs.
All right. Now you're teetering into like my kind of.
So you don't even have to. That's what I want to see. You don't even have to change the 3. You don't have to go 4. You just add that 2, like a normal fucking sequel should, but it works, and then flip it.
Yeah.
With horror music. Boom.
Done.
God, I'm so fucking excited about that. Alex, absolutely perfect. And please, please do it. You will guarantee our sale.
Yep.
Anyways, that's it. Thank y'all so much for watching, and we will see you guys on the next AngryJoe show. Bye, guys.